Good evening, YouTube family. Thank you for stopping by for another edition of the Third Testament. We have reached part 10 now, and I'm going to be doing a little bit shorter pieces because I know people are short on time. So I'm going to just be reading smaller pieces of it, and we'll eventually get through it. It might take a little bit more videos, but hey, we'll spend more time together. So thank you if you already have been following along with the Third Testament and you have liked and subscribed to our videos and to our channel. We really appreciate it, so we can get this information out to anybody who's interested. And we are going to be starting today in from teaching number 17 and number 38. And if you don't know what the Third Testament is, please go back to our other previous teachings. We have a playlist with it. It is something that was brought to me, I believe, by God bringing it forth in my life and walking as a Christian, and then receiving this material and having an open mind to receive some different perspectives and different spiritual teachings from the Bible. So it has been very helpful for me and many people that I've shared it with over the years. So I figure, why not share it on YouTube so everybody can read it and or listen to it if you know that is better for you. But I thought, why not read it together, because every time I read it, it helps me, and I appreciate that. So anyway, let's get started. All right. Hope everyone is doing wonderful. Okay, so we're going to start here. In my pathways, the virtues are blooming. In contrast, yours are covered with thorns, pitfalls, and bitterness. He who says that the paths of the Father are filled with thorns does not know what he has saying, because I have not created suffering for my children, but for those who have withdrawn from the path of light and peace. Once they return to it, they must suffer the consequences of their fault. Why do you drink that cup of bitterness? Why do you forget the mandate of the Father, as well as the mission which I have entrusted to you? Because you substituted my law for yours, and there you have the results of your vain wisdom: bitterness, war, fanaticism, disappointments, and falsehoods, which smother you and fill you with desperation. And the most painful for the materialistic man, for the one who submits everything to his calculations and subjects it to the material laws of this world, is that after this life, he will still find himself carrying the burden of his errors and his tendencies. Then the suffering of your spirit will be much greater. So I think people think that they'll just leave it all behind, but we continue to go through these things until we actually get it right. But at least God gives us the opportunity to. Okay, shake off your burden of sins here. Comply with my law and come to me quickly. Ask forgiveness of everyone whom you have offended and leave the rest to me. Then if you truly decide to do it, time will seem brief to you to love. Again, I say to you that I have not left thorns of affliction along the pathway. Through Jesus, I taught you how to withdraw from all weaknesses, to demonstrate my love to you and the power it has, and teach you the true joy which is found within the Spirit, with true humility. And my farewell and my promise for these times, I granted you peace, the light of hope, and the desire for my return. But you did not want to understand it like that. And you kept on crucifying me so that I would continue to forgive you indefinitely. But you must understand that my pardon will not prevent the consequences of your faults, because the errors are yours, not mine. My pardon will encourage you and comfort you, for in the end you will come to me, and I shall welcome you with the same love as always. But as long as you do not seek me along the paths of good, of love, and peace, you know well and must not forget it. The harm that you do or intend to cause, you will receive it in return 100-fold. Wow, 100-fold. So I think always having pure intent in all that you do, loving intent, is always going to serve your best and highest good. You are reaping the harvest of your materialism, and through you would wish me to approve your deeds. You are wrong, for I am immutable in my law. I do not proceed as you would like, for I would cease to be the way, the truth, and the life. I have come to nullify your erroneous laws, so that you will be governed by only those which are formed by my precepts and are in agreement with my wisdom. My laws are of love, and by proceeding from my divinity, they are unalterable and eternal, while yours are transitory and at all times cruel and selfish. You can clearly contemplate the chaos among men, so that you will not continue to make the law to your liking. This time I have not come to raise the dead with regard to the body, as I did with Lazarus during the second era. Today my light comes to lift the spirits, who are the ones who belong to me, and they will arise with the truth of my word to an eternal life, because your spirit is the Lazarus whom today you carry within your being, and whom I shall resurrect and heal. Now you know that the divine justice is of love, not of punishment like yours. What would become of you if I made use of your own laws to judge you before me, to whom appearances and false arguments have no merit? If I judged you according to your wickedness and used your own laws of terrible harshness, what would become of you? Then you would certainly be justified in asking me for clemency. However, you should not fear, because my love never withers, changes, or passes on. On the other hand, you pass on, you die and are reborn. You depart and then return, and thus you keep on journeying until the day comes when you will acknowledge that your Father and to submit to his divine law. You are temporarily here, but I am eternal. You pass by grieving because you stray from the path which my law has marked for you, while I am unchangeable. Practice the silence which favors the spirit, so that he will find his God. That silence is like a fountain of knowledge, and all who penetrate into it will be filled with the clearness of my wisdom. The silence is like a closed place with indestructible walls, to which only the spirit has access. Man constantly carries within him his innermost, the knowledge of the secret place in which he can communicate with God. You can communicate with your Father wherever you are, for the place is of no consequence. It can be at the top of a mountain, or you can find yourself in the depth of a valley, in the commotion of a city, in the peace of your home, or in the midst of a struggle. If you seek me in the interior of your sanctuary, in the midst of the deep silence of your elevation, the doors of the universal and invisible temple will be opened instantly, so that you feel yourself truly in the house of the Father, which exists in each spirit. When the pain of your ordeals overwhelm you and your afflictions of life annihilate your senses, if you experience an intense desire to obtain a little peace, retire to your chamber or seek the silence, the solitude of the countryside. There elevate your spirit, guided by the conscience, and enter into meditation. The silence is the kingdom of the spirit, a kingdom that is invisible to human eyes. So I think we know what is real is inside of us, and pretty much everything on the outside is an illusion. And nature probably is about the only real thing on the outside. So I find myself spending more and more time in nature, and it helps me so much connect with spirit, and I appreciate that. At the moment of penetrating the spiritual ecstasy, the awakening of the superior senses is obtained. Intuition surges, the inspiration glows, the future is perceived, and the spiritual life touches what is distant and makes possible what before seemed impossible. If you wish to penetrate the silence of the sanctuary, of this ark, you yourselves should be the ones to prepare the way, for only with true purity will you be able to penetrate it. Here I am, disciples, showing you how to develop your spirit so that you will get to know the ecstasy of the spirit, because the voice of the conscience is clearly heard within him, and what is impenetrable becomes transparent, and the darkness is illuminated. That state of elevation cannot be a privilege, only for some beings. It is a gift that is latent in every spirit. But in past times I have availed myself of those who have known how to make use of that grace. In order for the ecstasy to be perfect, you will have to pass through a meditative withdrawal. as just the people of the first eras did. That is why Jesus taught you during the things during the second era, when he retreated to the desert for 40 days before beginning to preach the good news, to withdraw himself in solitude, meditate, and comfort himself in the Almighty. So I will tell you on my own story, as I truly was seeking what God would have for me to do to connect more with him and birth my Christ within. I was in one of the most major cities in the United States with a lot going on. And as I got deeper into my spiritual walk, the next thing you know, I'm being moved across the whole United States. And I am in a very small community surrounded by a forest. And I just never thought I would be there. And it's taken a little adjustment, but I've noticed that through the silence, without the distractions of even neighbors, I mean, I have neighbors, but I can't really see them very well because of the trees. But just to have the peace and then have the nature surrounding you, and spending time in meditation and prayer, and then listening to your own thoughts, because you really just don't know how you're responding to life until you're spending time in that quietness and you realize what kind of thoughts that you are, having, how you're responding to life, how you think about yourself. And so, Jesus took 40 days, but I always say that, I've been doing this for, a few years. I would say God has had me about 5 years now in the wilderness. So I say that, what am I in? It must be taking me 40 months, 40 plus months to do the same thing that Jesus did. But I notice what it's doing for me. So many things when it comes to healing me in so many ways, and my connection with the Holy Spirit, with God. And I just appreciate it so much. So I can understand why it helped Jesus, because taking yourself out of the world for some time, and it might not take you as long as it's taken me, because I had a lot of things going on, a lot of anxiety, a lot of trauma to deal with. But I have to say that taking yourself away from the hustle and bustle and just being quiet, it helps you a whole lot. I would definitely recommend it, and it's going to bring you to a better place. So we will end it there. I thank you for joining us, and I will be putting up another video soon. And I thank you for liking and subscribing, so these videos will get around. As we don't want to force any, beliefs on anyone. We're just offering information for those who, have an open mind to take in different perspectives on this information that is in our Bible, and just more information that's being added to that. So thank you for watching the video, liking, subscribing. Love to you all. Be back again soon. Thanks.